Hi viewers, welcome back to MasterJSkills. Today's video is very important for freshers as well as for experienced people who are preparing for Java interview. So this syllabus I have prepared from my own experience as I never found a complete important topics of a Java when I was preparing for a Java interview. Though you might have a n number of experience, but core Java is a very important while switching a job. If you are confident in core Java, you can easily learn any advanced Java and framework. So today we will see what are the important topics in Java. If you are thorough with this syllabus, it is not only help you in interview as well as it will help you in the further development once you get selected into the organization. If you are new to MasterJSkills, then please subscribe to MasterJSkills so that it will motivate me to come up with a new videos. Without making any delay, let's get started. So the first important topic is resume. Resume is very important. So resume is nothing but the profile. You should add all the positive skill sets into the resume and what actually you are. The resume reflects your profile. So just to get selected for the interview itself, we should have a proper resume. So for freshers, I just want to give one tip. So what we will be doing in the resume as a freshers in terms of languages like computer languages, we will be adding all the computer language which we have learned in the graduations like C, C++, Java, Python, whatever. So this is not the right way to do it. Instead, you can specify, I have a good knowledge on Java, but I know basic concept of C, C++, Python, whatever it may be. If you are good at some language, either C, C++, whatever, so better to add those minor changes makes a more attractive CV. So don't add it like you know all the languages. So in that case, what will happen? Panelists see your resume, they will start asking questions on all the languages. So better add all the things whatever you are good at. So that's the best way to prepare. This video is not belongs to how to prepare the resume. Just I'm giving a small tip. So the first most important topic is resume. So if you want how to prepare a proper resume, then please drop in the comment box. I'll come up with another video on how to prepare resume, especially for freshers. The next important concept is introduction. So we will be thinking like introduction means myself. So I know about myself, so it's not necessary to prepare for introduction and just we will go and start telling to the panelist about ourselves, but we will get a panic. So introduction is very important concept or a topic when preparing for an interview. So with the introduction, they'll be catching out your communication skill, how confident you are. They will be looking out your body language. So introduction is not just to know about you, because you already have mentioned about yourself in the resume, but still they are asking you to introduce it yourself, means they want to catch up your confident level and communication skills and body language. So before going to the interview, better to prepare for an introduction. That's the best way when you are going for an interview. That's the best way to prepare. So first is resume, second is introduction. So now we will jump into the core Java concepts. So in core Java, we have a huge syllabus to become a master in core Java. If we master in core Java, then you can learn any other frameworks or advanced Java very easily. So among them, I have listed all the important and least important topics. I'll be mentioning you whichever the most important and least important, as well as which is important for freshers and which is for experience. So you can note down these syllabus or else take a screenshot and prepare as per this syllabus. So for sure, if you are thorough with this, you can crack any interview. So the first important topic is Java features. So in Java features, they'll be asking you what is the most important feature of Java. So what makes Java different from other language? Why we have to choose a Java? So like that they'll be asking you. So better to know all the features and understand why Java is making different from other language and why we are choosing Java for development. So have a clear understanding on Java features. That will be very helpful for freshers as well as for experienced. Some organization will be asking this question for experienced as well. So this is very important question or a concept. So the next topic is JDK, JRE and JVM. So they'll be asking you what is JDK, JRE and JVM individual, as well as they may ask you how the architecture, what is the architecture of JDK, JRE and JVM. If you know about the architecture, then obviously you will be knowing how Java works internally inside the JVM architecture. So they may ask you how it works, explain the flow, like that they'll be asking you. So have a clear understanding on this JDK and JRE and JVM. This not only helps you to crack the interview, it is more important concept if you want to dive into the world of Java. So this is very basic, but it's a very important. It's very important for freshers as well as for experienced. The next concept is Java version. So Java version is important. We have to at least know which all the versions it has released and what is the present version and what is the important like some of the versions we will be using. For example, before we were using Java 6, 7 and 8. Nowadays industries are using 8 and some people are using 11. So whatever the main important versions, then go through all the features which they have released in this version and what are the list of versions also you should know. So I have listed all the versions, so you can just list on all the versions, and if you okay to prepare with this and you are able to remember all the features which are released in each version, then you can prepare well. But it's not mandatorily to prepare all the features, but if you know some of the versions like Java 8, Java 6, what they have added into the Java 1.2 and 6, 7, 8 is very important. So 8 feature has came up in the industry, so you should know all the features of Java 8 and Java 9 also we have used, and Java 10 and 11. These are very important. Still we didn't reach to this. Some companies are using, but for freshers it's better to have some idea on particular version. You can say I know we have these many versions, and among them I have worked on Java 8, and in Java 8 I know these all the features they have released. Then like that you can prepare and you can answer in the interview. So this is also important question, but it's not mandatorily, but Java 8 feature is very important. The next topic is Java Object-Oriented Programming. So we have to prepare on Java Object-Oriented Programming, like what are the features makes Java as an object-oriented programming. So you should know this knowledge, and this is not a mandatory question, but some companies for basic object-oriented programming itself, they'll be asking you some questions. So concept they'll ask you, so better to have a clear understanding on Java object-oriented programming. As to enter into the Java world, we have to know this. This is very basic question, so we have to know this. This is important for freshers, and if you are experienced, then we know about the object-oriented programming. So the next topic is memory management. Memory management is a least important for freshers, but it's a very important for experienced. So memory management, in that garbage collectors in Java, how it will be collecting, but like in other languages like C, allocation and deallocation will be handled by the programmers, but in Java it will be handled by the JVM. so how it will be handled. So this is most important question for experienced, least important for freshers. So we should if we are experienced, we should be thorough in the memory management and garbage collectors in Java. So this is very important for experienced, least important for freshers. So the next topic is access specifiers. So access specifiers is very important for both experienced and fresher. This is nothing but like how we will be giving access of our class, properties of a class and all. So among them, default, public, private and protected as well. So these are very important for freshers as well as experienced. So next question is how main method works. So this I have mentioned as an question itself. This is very important for freshers. Some companies will be asking given for experienced as well. This is very basic also. We should know how the main method, because whenever we will be calling a user defined methods, we will be calling with some operators, but as a developer we are not calling a main method, but who is calling, how it is working. Without main method you can't there are some other ways to run the application program, but main method is a very important. How it works, that they want to check. This is very important and very basic question. So this is this you have to have a knowledge how the main method works. So the next is composition and aggregation in Java. This is again the important for freshers. For experienced it's a least important, but some companies may ask, so this is also important. So the next is keyword. So among the keywords I have listed some of the keywords. These are very important, so you can have a look on these keywords. So these are the very important keywords in terms of Java interview. So the next is user defined data types like class, subclass, abstract class, interface. So I didn't mention multiple inheritance. Instead I have mentioned class and subclass. So that is nothing but inheritance, multiple inheritance, that we can cover it in the interface itself. They'll be asking you like why the multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. So what they have given the solution in Java. So these all the questions they'll be covering it in these user defined data types, like what is a class, what is a subclass, what is a abstract class, what are the properties of abstract class, and what is the difference between abstract class and interface. Like these questions they'll be asking. So you should be thorough on these all the concepts. So be prepared for this user defined data types. This is again a very important concept or topic for freshers. Again for experienced, obviously we will be knowing about these all, so you may have these questions as well. So the next concept is constructors in Java. So this is very important again for freshers as well as for experienced. So they'll be asking what is constructors, why exactly it's used, and whether the constructor overloading is possible or overriding is possible. These all the questions will be asking. So you should have a thorough knowledge on constructor, and it's a very important concept. So the next topic is polymorphism. Polymorphism is very important for freshers. So among them I have listed like dynamic polymorphism, method overloading, overriding, static and dynamic binding. So you should prepare on polymorphism. It's a very important again. Next is whereas. So this is again it's least important, but if you have a good if you have a knowledge on this, it's better. It's nothing but like method overloading. You can compare it with a method overloading, but it's something different syntax. With its different syntax, so you can go through that. Next is instance of operator. This is again it's the least important, but some companies may ask. Next topic is immutable class. It's a very important for experienced. For freshers, if you have knowledge, that's better, but immutable class is very important for experienced. So the next topic is java.lang package. Among them, class object, like what is the class object, where hierarchy of our object, whether what all the methods present in the object, like that questions they'll be asking. And next is a string. So string is very important for experienced as well as for freshers. For experienced, it's very important. They'll be asking you about the string pool and string handling. Even for freshers also they'll be asking. This is the purely core Java, so they'll be asking about a string, more than a string buffer and string builder. So these are the important among a java.lang package. So be thorough on string pool and string handling. So the next topic is exception handling. Again, you might be knowing like exception handling is the very important, and among them you should know the classification of exception like checked and unchecked exception, exception handling mechanism. So these are the very important questions or a concept among the exception handling. So have a thorough understanding on exception handling. So the next topic is multi-threading. It's a short question or a concept for experienced. For freshers, if you have a good knowledge, like theoretical knowledge also enough, but for experience they'll be asking you a lot more questions on multi-threading. So among them, life cycle of threads, mechanism of handling threads, synchronization, inter-thread communication. Like mechanism of handling threads itself, I have included like how you can create a user-defined threads. Like that, you should know complete concept of a multi-threading with almost all cross questions also. The multi-threading is very important. For experienced, for freshers also it's very important, but if you don't know some of the concept like synchronization, inter-thread communication, that will be fine, but if you know, that will be added benefits. So for experienced it's very important. So multi-threading is completely not only for interview purpose, even for development also it's very important. So have a good knowledge on multi-threading. So next concept is generics. So the next topic is generics. Generic is not that important, but if you have a good knowledge, that will be helpful in a collection framework for typecasting and all. So generic is least important for freshers. For experienced, it's a good to have a generics knowledge, because that will be very helpful in collection framework. So the next topic is collection framework, and you know that it's a very important for experienced. For freshers also it's important, but if you don't know much knowledge on data structures also, that is fine, but you should have some knowledge on these lists, set, queue, and its implementation as well. For freshers it's fine, but for experience they'll be asking you some questions as well as some programs and differences between set, list, and its implementation differences also they'll be asking. Like for example, what is the difference between array list and linked hash, linked list and linked hash set? Like they'll be asking what's the difference between list and set, set and map. Like that they'll be asking all the questions, similarities also, and how we can traverse. These all the questions they'll be asking, like which is the best data structure to select when we have too many insertions, when we want to delete specific index, then which one we have to choose. Like that questions they'll be asking, and these are the important. Like in the list, we have its implementation, vector, array list, linked list, and stack. You can consider list is an interface and its implementation all are classes. Next, set is an interface and its implementation, tree set, hash set, and linked hash sets are classes. So the next is queue. Queue is an interface, again it's a implementation, linked list, priority queue, and dequeue, array dequeue. So the next is map. Again, map is not under the hierarchy of a collection framework, but again it's a separate part in the framework itself. So map, among the map we have a tree map, hash map, linked hash map, hash table, and properties. These are very important and you should have a knowledge on this. It's a mandatory. And among collection framework itself, we have a collection interface, we have a collection interface, collections class. So they'll be asking, making you some confusions like interface and class, there is only one difference is yes, the last yes. So with the collection class we have a yes, with the interface we have only collection interface. So this and what is the collection class gives the features, like what are the utility functionalities it is giving, those all the things they'll be asking. So the next is enumeration interface, iterator interface, list iterator interface, and sorting is very important for experience. They'll be asking you comparable and comparator interfaces. So these are the very important topics under the collection framework. So you should make note and you should have a clear understanding and thorough knowledge on collection framework. So the next is Java IO. Java IO is the least important, but some companies may ask for freshers, not for experienced. So it is better if you know a bit knowledge on IOs. While development it's important, but for interview purpose it's the least important. So next is cloning. So cloning, serialization and deserialization, class and reflection are least important for freshers. For experience it's a very important concept, so have a clear understanding on these all the concept. Next is Java 8 features. It's nowadays it's a it's a mandatory question or mandatory topic for freshers as well as for experienced. So have a clear knowledge on Java 8 features and its implementation as well. They'll be asking you some logical programs to check your logical skills. So this is very important, and for experience they'll be asking you lot more tricky logical programs, but for freshers they'll be asking you some basic logical programs like Fibonacci, factorial, this kind. For experience they'll be very tricky and logical programs they'll be asking. So these are the very important topics under core Java in terms of an interview. There is a lot more concept in core Java, but I have listed only the important concept which I have come across throughout my experience. You can have either notes of this syllabus and prepare accordingly, and you can try for the interview. And I'm sure that for freshers this is more than enough in terms of core Java. So this is about the core Java. Next we will jump into the JDBC concept. So under JDBC we should have there are list of JDBC drivers. Among them you can say only one. If you are thorough, you should be thorough at least on one driver like JDBC, ODBC drivers, but you should have a knowledge on these. So they'll be asking about the JDBC drivers and important interface in JDBC like drivers, connection interface, status statement, prepare statement. So these are very important interfaces in terms of a JDBC. So you should have a knowledge on these all the interfaces in the JDBC. So JDBC is very important for freshers. For experienced, they'll be asking you on Hibernate instead of JDBC. If you have any other frameworks also, they'll be asking you on that other than the JDBC like Hibernate and other. So this is very important for freshers. So next is JDBC important classes, that is driver manager, blob, club. So these are very important classes again in the JDBC. Next, this is very important, steps to connect database. So they'll be asking you specifically among these interfaces and classes. You should have a knowledge on them, but this is for short question. This steps to connect to the database like registering the driver class, creating a connection, then creating statement, executing queries, and then closing connection. So these are the steps you should have a clear understanding, as well as not only theoretical, as well as they'll ask you to write a code on how to register the drivers and create a connection. These steps they'll ask programmatically as well as theoretical knowledge also they'll be checking. So this is very important for freshers. So next concept is CRUD operation using JDBC. They'll be asking you to write a CRUD operation like create, update, read and delete. So these operations they'll be asking you to write a program using JDBC. So these are the very important concept in terms of a JDBC. So if you have these this much knowledge, and including this, one more I have missed here, the transaction management in JDBC also they'll be asking you. I'll mention it here. So I'll mention it here. Transaction management. So they'll be asking you transaction management using JDBC. ACID properties also they'll be asking you. So I have listed that and all in under database. So these are the JDBC important concepts. So you can go through these all the concept in under JDBC. So next concept is a database. So this is important for freshers as well as for experience. JDBC is important for freshers, least important for experienced. For database, they'll be asking you type of a database. So among them, you can have a one clear understanding on one of the database, like centralized, distributed, relational database, NoSQL database. So I have listed all of them. So you should know these are the list of types of database, but among them you can prepare for one database. So you can tell I have one good knowledge on this database. So they'll start asking you questions on that database itself. So these are the types of database that is important. Next, for they'll be asking you on RDBMS. RDBMS is very important. Next is DBMS architecture, they may ask you, and 3 schema architecture. This is not a mandatory, but if you have a knowledge, that's a good added benefit. Next is ACID properties in DBMS is very important. So this is very important concept in for database, that is important for experienced as well as for freshers. So next is ER diagram. Just you should know what is ER diagram, so how it will be created, what is the use of ER diagram. So this is least important, but some companies may expect when they want to hire you specifically for database, they may ask you on ER diagram also. So normalization is again important for freshers as well as for experience. You should have a understanding on normalization and transaction. So this is a transaction management that I have already said you. So about the transaction management, you should know transaction properties, state of transaction. These are very important among a transaction management. I can mention it here as a transaction management. The transaction property and state of a transaction is also very important for both experienced as well as freshers. Then concurrency control also, it's important. So these are the very important concept. Among them, they'll be asking for experience, they'll be asking most of the things, or write a query, how to order by having clause, and how you can link from one table to another, how to get the data from multiple tables. So these type of queries they'll be asking you. I just have mentioned here queries. If you want what type of queries and important queries, please drop in the comment box. I'll come up with a video. So these are very important topics under database. I have listed only the most important. I have skipped all the least important. So these are the basic knowledges required under the database, but queries is very important. So next is added benefits. So these are very important concept, but if you have a other than these, so if you have a knowledge on JUnit, jQuery, JavaScript, JSP, Servlet, MVC architecture, Hibernate, Spring, design patterns. So if you have a knowledge on these all the topics as well, then it will be added benefits. So that this will make your profile more valuable. So if you are thorough with those all the topics, then you can have a look on these topics as well. These are the again different frameworks like Spring framework, Hibernate, design patterns. So these are very important for experience, but as a freshers, if you have already these knowledge, then it will be added benefits for you only. So these are the very important topics I have included for freshers. So I'll come up with one more video for experienced guys. So these are mandatorily you should have a knowledge if you are going for an interview on Java. So that's all on this video. If I missed any of the topics, so please drop in the comment box. That will be helpful for any other. And if you have any doubts, please drop in the comment box. I'll make sure to answer all your questions. And if you want any videos, then that also drop in the comment box. I'll come up with an video on that particular topic. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to MasterJSkills. That will motivate me to come up with any other good videos. So that's all for today, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks again for watching.